Welcome to the Lights Out podcast. This is Chris Lights Out Lytle, and this is our journey to document the history of mixed martial arts. I have brought with me my friend, the MMA detective Mike Davis, and together we will preserve the history and hear some great stories from the world in the era of the no-holds-barred. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Lights Out MMA History Podcast. I am Joey Venti. With me as always, host of the show, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Today we have a special guest, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who fought everywhere from neutral grounds in LA to Pride in Japan. He's a UFC veteran who fought in the SEG and Zuffa eras. He's played a big role in the evolution of our sport. The king of the armbar, Fabiano Iha. Thank you for being here.
Thanks to having me.
So, Fabiano, your start within the United States martial arts, like mixed martial arts system, the jiu-jitsu world, was at a time where it was like an explosion of talents and people traveling. Your first gym here in the United States, was it Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu?
Correct. That was the first gym that it was not my gym. I got hired to teach jiu-jitsu there.
Okay, who hired you?
Was if I'm not mistaken, the name of the guy, the owner was Avi. He hired me, Marco Ruas to do Vale Tudo, Bas Huten to do stand-up, baby, and Mark Kerr to do the wrestling, and Oleg Tatarov. That was the team.
Okay. What we're experiencing here is the first attempt at what the Dan Lambert and the American Top Team pulled off. Because that right there is just an absolute, just number one lineup. It's an incredible lineup.
So yeah, is this the gym that we see in the movie The Smashing Machine? That's Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu? Just making sure.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. So go ahead. You get in with all of these guys. How is it teaching there? How do you even get on their radar?
Well, I was just out of the boat on that time. Like I was teaching private for Machados, for Riga Machados in Torrance at that time. And that opportunity came out, and then I just moved in. I didn't actually move in. I was still in Redondo Beach, living in Redondo Beach at that time. And then I got invited to, to teach Jiu-Jitsu at Beverly Hills. And I did for a little while. Thanks actually to them. That's when I got discovered to get invited to fight in the UFC. John Pereira came in, and back in the days, he used to like to go and train with the fighters before he hired the person to fight in the UFC, because there was not too many information available. So he used to travel all over the world and just grappling and sparring with that person to see if they deserve to be in the UFC. So he came in, we trained, and it's like, okay, I like you, I want to have you on the show. And I'm just jumping all over, but my first contract with UFC was to fight Frank Shamrock.
Okay. Wait, I think we'll get into that, but let's go a little bit more back.
Let's go back. Yeah,
so for you to even get to this point means that you've got a very strong lineage. There's really not much known about you. Like, there's not a lot online. Your Wikipedia is very limited. Let's start with your jiu-jitsu beginnings.
I'm black belt from Claudine Gracie, Claudine and Hillian Gracie, from Brazil. And then when I came here, I also got a black belt from Joe Moreira and from Riga Machado.
Okay, so you're pretty decorated. Now, there's a little bit of controversy in regards to your black belt with the people that are naysayers. What they say is you skipped your brown belt level.
I was brown belt for a year, so I don't know if I skipped my brown belt level.
Okay, good. I was also told that you won a world title at brown belt?
Yes, in every single belt, from blue belt all the way up.
Wow.
I did not won in black belt because when I got my black belt, I was already kind of mentally focused on trying to get in the UFC. And I was doing, I did Abu Dhabi, and I was more close to no gi and MMA than actually, jiu-jitsu competition with gi. I was already burned out of that on that time. Okay,
so your first year Abu Dhabi, you actually got the invite for the inaugural Abu Dhabi, which is 1998, March 20th. How do you get that invite, and then who was your roommate?
I got invited by Ryan. I forgot his last name. Ryan actually somehow got involved with the whole organization, and he put up a team. It was me, Rico Rodriguez, and two other fighters that I don't kind of like remember. They never actually made it. And then we went there as a team. And as you remember, Rico ended up winning the show. I got third, and the other two guys they lost in the first fight.
Well, your third place, I mean, your tournament is pretty remarkable. Juan Valles, you get a flying armbar right off the bat, 48 seconds. Harib Hashel, you got an armbar in a minute. So your first two matches are under 2 minutes combined. And in the third round, you run into Renzo Gracie. Ooh.
Yeah, that was bizarre because my instructor, Hillian Gracie, he was in Renzo corner because they caught him. And my instructor told me, Fabiano, it's nothing personal, it's just my family. He invited me to come here. I'm coaching him, and unfortunately you guys end up in the semifinal. And then I'm gonna say it is what it is. So I don't know if you ever watched the match. I almost got Renzo in the armbar, and I was like a little bit mentally, I say, down into, because again, my instructors with him, I was by myself, and Renzo is Renzo. He's
it's
great.
Renzo. Yeah, it's Renzo.
He's great. In that time, I was like, in my mind, he's one, the best guys that I could go against. Him and Jean-Jacques. I used to have a lot of respect for both of them, and so I kind of like walk into the I'm gonna do my best. I don't know if I'm gonna win, but so when I actually got him on the arm, I was like, oh shit, this really happened. And that 1 second delay, got him to twist his arm, escape, and he beat me by points. So that's the end of the story,
Okay. Right. Yeah, you come back, you beat John Lewis for third place. Still a fantastic showing. And, at that time, nobody really knew what to expect from ADCC. Nobody did. And
yes, it was the first one. Yeah, it was the first one. Was amazing, great experience ever. I really like it there. I like the way they treat all the fighters and everything else. Everybody there kind of like. I felt like everybody was competing. Not everybody's competing against each other, but everybody was competing, but like in the big family kind of. Okay. It was kind of like, kind of cool that everybody got invited, from considering, the best fighters in the world. So
who was your roommate?
Yes, I have somebody, I forgot his name.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Here's kind of an off the wall question. When you were over at Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu, the rumor was that, well, here, I'm going to tell you where it came from. Tomohiko Takada, and Sakuraba showed up and grappled with you guys. Did Sakuraba catch Mark Lehman in an armbar?
Like yes. Like he also submit me, and
He submitted you too.
Yeah, and some weird submission that I end up asking him to show me, and and then because again I was open mind, and then
of course,
and end up actually getting a lot of people after because it was something very different. It's not the greatest. Is just like almost like on the level of wrist lock, almost on that level, kind of, but it was something. He got me, and I was like, shit, I never seen that before. So anyway.
So that question comes from M. Betts 1981 from the Underground Forum on MMA.tv. I had heard that Sakuraba was there, but I didn't know he was really in rolling with everybody. How did he fare against the other instructors? It's like a virtual all-star team there.
I be honest with you, I don't kind of remember. I got invited by them to teach him and coach him against Royler on the that's when I went actually to Pride to coach him. Yeah. So when I was there, I went just to coach him. I was not supposed to fight. And then I was there. One of the fighters that's supposed to fight, Frank Trigg, got hurt. And they invited me to fight Frank Trigg like a week before the fight. And then I accept because money talks. Was a great money on the table. And I knew it that I have a very limited chance because Frank at that time was 20 pounds over me.
Heavier than you.
And then, the Pride doesn't really have weight division, so it was a good experience to step into the ring with that many people.
Oh,
so I don't regret but I wish I was kind of like going there for the fight. I didn't even have a coach with me. My dad was coaching me, that never even been in the fight before. I just told my dad, just give him the time.
With your strong jiu-jitsu lineage, did you butt heads a lot with Marco Ruas, or were you guys able to kind of meet halfway?
Well, I don't know if you guys know the history of the whole jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu and Vale Tudo was never good friends for a long time. But on the other hand, me and Marco Ruas was a very good friend, and there was a crazy controversy about that because Marcos trained me for my first UFC. And not too many people know that, but it is what it is. Like, he trained me, and then the day of the fight, when I was in my locker room, and I was the last time that was taking a leak before put the cup and getting ready to actually step in the ring. When I came out the restroom, he was gone. he just left me behind. Why there? Exactly 15 minutes before my fight.
Did you ever ask him why?
Pressure. He actually regret later. We spoke about he was expression from everybody and the whole Vale Tudo community. It will say why you are one of the top guys from Vale Tudo walking to help a Jiu-Jitsu guy into a fight. So that was it. He couldn't handle the pressure.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, look at you. You're walking in with him and you're fighting.
Yeah.
You've got the same pressure as him.
It was funny that Joe Moreira was there at that time. So when I come out the restaurant, Joe came to me and say, Fab, come here, I want to talk to you. He's like, I'm with you, huh? It's like, yeah, Joe, I know. It's like, I got some bad news for you. I'm like, what? Marcus left. I'm like, what left? Yeah, he's left. He's not gonna be in your corner. I'm like, what else? I don't have time for that. I have to go in, come with me, and it is what it is. What can we do?
He was in your corner for some earlier fights, right? Maybe the Club Luciano.
Here, let's go from the beginning. We're kind of skipping around. June 20th, 1998, neutral grounds. It's your first fight here in the United States. Did you fight in Brazil prior to here?
Yes, I have fights in Brazil, but just kind of like back in that days was in Brazil was one organization only, pretty much, that was valid organization that used to throw fights there. The Jungle Fight.
Okay. Yeah.
And then was a small kind of like a neutral grounds, and like inside the gyms, kind of like the sport was, kind of like baby steps on that time. So I have some fights there, but nothing like on the professional kind of level.
Okay.
This way.
So how long were you in the United States before you took your first fight?
Like less than 5-6 months.
Okay, so you acclimated a little bit.
Well, I came on the mission, so I was kind of put the walls there that I was ready to fight. So I moved here to fight. So I was.
Was it your whole intention of coming here?
Yes, I came. The first time I came was for UFC 3. I came with Gracie, my instructor, to help Royce Gracie. So when I saw Royce fighting, and I'm like, oh shit, I want to do that. And then from that time, I was like on the mission. I sold my business. I used to have a nightclub back home, and I sold my nightclub, and I came here just for that. So
you were at UFC 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Joey, this is.
We're ready.
All right. So UFC 3, the controversy. I shouldn't even say. Well, I guess it is controversy. We interviewed Chris Brennan, and he told us that for UFC 3, Kimo had Ziegler was the guy's last name. I'm going off the top of my head. Or maybe Randy Ziegler. Ralph Ziegler. Ziegler's definitely the last name. He pays a guy to go do privates with Rickson, learn everything, and then come back and teach Kimo everything that he had learned. Were you aware of that? I guess the cat got out of the bag at weigh-ins.
Was the only I say that was in the air on that time was that Rickson was not on a good I say friendship, family,
problems fighting
with Horian, not actually Royce. And then Horian is the one that was managing and doing the whole thing for Royce. So that's actually why Hillian, my instructor, step in and start to coach Royce at that time. But I knew it, that I heard that Kimo kind of like learned Jiu-Jitsu because Jiu-Jitsu was something new. That's why, and not only why, but that's why Royce was doing so great, because nobody kind of knew it You know, he did have a weapon. He did have a weapon that nobody knew where it come from. And then, of course, he knows how to apply very well that weapon. And then when he got somebody that physically are way stronger than him, that knows tiny little bit, or at least to protect himself with some stuff, I think that's why he was not expecting that from him. And that's why I think he give him a hard time. And with plus, a couple other things, you know.
So Chris Brennan told us that Joe San dealing a lot of drugs at nightclubs, funded the private lessons with Rickson through this guy Ziggler. Ziggler comes back, teaches Kimo, which is why Kimo was able to have a decent defense for a little bit of a time. But he said, at the hotel lobby, when I saw Ziggler with Kimo, there was almost a huge fight. The entire Gracie family almost beat everybody up.
I do remember that fight. Yeah, I do remember have something big happen that. Yeah, I do.
Let's talk about that UFC 3 locker room. When did you know that Royce wasn't going to proceed in the tournament?
He was physically not ready for that tournament at all from the beginning.
Can I interject here? So what history tells us, I was not, obviously none of us were there. Rickson made a play for $1 million to get into the UFC. Horion, Elio, Art Davey, they all told him no, they didn't have the money. And then there was, Rickson stopped training Royce at that point and stopped cornering him. So you get brought in to help him. And when did you know that there maybe had some problems in in his conditioning?
Well, what they told me back in the day is that so when Horion create the UFC, they put Rickson is the one that's supposed to be the star, the guy, but they decide let's not. It's almost like you're on the war. Let's not put your best weapon, the best guy, on the front line, because let's see how a second or third one does before we bring you in. And then that's why Royce started. And then Royce started to do what he did. In my opinion, he did great. He did amazing.
Phenomenal. Legend.
Legend. Royce, legend. And then kind of to the point that Rickson's like, I wanna in. I was supposed to be in. And then they could actually not bring him in because it was a tournament, how he was gonna get in. Or either is one out to the other one come in. So that's what I heard on my side on that.
All right. Okay, so when do you know? Okay, Royce was having issues with his conditioning, was not ready. When do they decide that he's not going to proceed?
I honestly feel I don't remember. I don't actually remember. I was just like, again, Helion was my instructor, is the one that was, coaching him and dealing with the situation. I was just there, kind of like, if you need somebody to warm up, if you need somebody to do stuff, I'm here. And pretty much that's it.
Who threw the towel against Harold Howard?
Don't remember.
Were you in the corner?
No, I was not in the corner.
Oh, you were in
I was not on the corner. I was there. Okay. Yeah, I was not on the corner. Not on the corner. It was only the family on the corner on that time.
Were you in the Gracie train going out to the cage?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. but not together. Like they are like they very tight.
Yeah, you have to leave. You walk them out, and then some people stay, some people go back. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, I got to ask you this. So Royce comes in, Rich Man G Goins, says both names, leaves the cage. They close the door. They ring the bell. You guys, or the people from the Gracie corner, throw the towel in against Harold Howard. Is that a no contest, or is that a loss?
Well, should be no contest in my opinion.
No contest.
He didn't lose it. He didn't lose.
Well, he didn't win. He also doesn't advance.
Yeah. So it's a loss. Could be a loss. Yeah.
Justice for Harold Howard. All right, my other cornerman question for you. First off, dude, that is incredible. That is an incredible first person account. Tito Ortiz. You and Tito were real close, and you cornered him. I got it right. You cornered Tito Ortiz against Randy Couture, and at some point in the fight, you were actually on your cell phone talking to somebody during the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Who were you talking to?
I don't remember. I remember like somebody told me something like that. It's like I think I got actually if you're gonna laugh on that, but I think it was my mom, just because you watch on TV and just call me and say, I'm see you. Kind of something like that. And then I saw that I need like as a mom on the fight, and then like I go. It's like I'm sorry. This is my mom.
Right. I thought that was September 26, 2003, UFC 44. Honestly, okay. So right around this time, Panama Lewis, famous boxing trainer, banned from boxing, not allowed to train. Allowed to train people, not allowed to corner people. So Sugar Shane Mosley would have somebody in the corner on their Nextel giving advice from Panama Lewis. I didn't know if it was a situation like that or not.
No, it was like quick kind of like answer and just letting go. She's that type of worry about, like same. I got a phone call from her the day that my first loss in the UFC. Right after I stepped in from the octagon, and she called me and actually emotionally destroyed me, because like, moms love you, doesn't matter what happened. I'm like, that's all we need to hear now. And she told me,
okay, before Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz had their big rivalry, the rumor was that you were backstage at a King of the Cage. You're talking with Tito, and you see Ken Shamrock walking your way. Ken Shamrock calls Tito a cocksucker and can't stand him. And then they have a communication, of which time Tito leaves, and Ken tells you that guy's always such a motherfucker. Did they always have that type of rivalry? And do you remember that instance backstage?
I'm gonna like actually disappoint you guys a little bit on that.
Okay.
Because on the like you remember when they fought actually in the UFC, and
yes,
the whole drama on the press conference, and like Tito kicking chair and the whole thing. I believe it was I believe in like it was on Mandalay Bay or I don't kind of like not sure what hotel was that, but anyway, so they used to have a back elevator that everybody used to not everybody, like the fighter used to go in. It's like a big kind of like a service elevator.
Okay, yeah.
And then we walk into the elevator after the whole drama, and again, in my perspective, when I'm seeing like these guys really hate each other, they're gonna kill each other, and the whole drama. So we walk into the elevator, and then me and Tito, the whole team was inside the elevator, and then guess who walked in? Why in the same elevator with everybody else? Ken Shamrock and the team. And then they look at each other and they can like, hey Tito, how's it going? How's your wife? See, I do like talking like, you know, two like civilized friends. Like, you know, I'm like, what the hell just happened here? You guys like almost trying to kill each other 10 minutes ago. And now like, and then I'm like, oh, this is our acting. The whole thing was acting. I'll pretend. Again, sorry.
It's sold pay-per-views.
I am a mark.
And I tell you what, you know, Ken, he's good at that because he came from WWE. I think they taught him that. You know, they taught him.
Argumi. He was in Japan doing it.
Yeah, doing all that, you know, like, and then Tito also, you know, is Tito. Tito is good in that as well. You know, I don't really think they kind of like really have a beef against each other. It's just like putting the show. That's what I saw, because when he walked in the elevator, I was getting ready to a war. I'm like, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna come. It's like we're gonna all fight each other here. It's like gonna be a war. It's like, how's it going? How's the family? Everybody's good. I'm like, what?
That was a hell of a show, man. I was sold.
Yeah, man, it looked legit.
Got us all.
Yeah, it was. I agree, because again, I was in his corner, and I thought that they hate each other. They're gonna ready to kill each other, you know. But anyway, again, sorry to break that up.
Yeah, no, that's very good. No, that's why we're here, man. That's why we're here. In 2004, you helped Vitor Belfort train for Randy Couture up in Big Bear.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience like?
Very disappointed. Very disappointed. Victor is like, I was very disappointed the way he treated his team member. And then later on, I kind of realized that he kept jumping from one team to another because I believe what he was doing. And is just he's an incredible fighter, but not strong mind. He doesn't believe in himself.
Okay, so we in our Pat Miletich interview, you got to remember it's Brazilians versus Americans at the time when Pat Miletich was fighting. The Brazilian team actually had to pull Pat into the locker room to give Vitor a pep talk so he would go out and fight.
Oh yeah. I actually kind of play with him a little bit when I was there. I was just like on myself, like what I put myself into, because he I kind of have a feeling that I don't know, I can maybe be, you know, talking shit or talk too much now, but I think he's kind of like when he was taking steroids, you know, the steroids kind of make you, you know, the kind of like the Incredible Hulk kind of like experience. It's like
invincible, yeah,
you know. And then when he stopped taking, that messed him up. Again, his skills is still there. That doesn't change his skills, but it changed the way he think while here. And I was something, man. It was like I experienced some crazy stuff there, and I'm like, shit. I was not expecting that at all, you know.
Well, that wasn't your first time at Big Bear. I know December 23rd, 2000, Pride 11. You also helped train Mark Kerr for his rematch against Igor Vovchensin in Big Bear.
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience?
Well, we did several. We actually was the first MMA guys to to do a camping there.
It was mostly Tito's idea, Tito Ortiz, though. Am I correct?
100%, 100% on that.
He kind of went where the boxers were going. Brilliant move.
Yeah, like, and then I was just, back in the days, I used to have Octagon. Was one of the first guy actually to own and have full-size Octagon inside the gym. So I was able to, every single time, I was able to take the Octagon from my gym and place it in Big Bear, and set up, like, we set up several different very, very interesting training facility over there. Like, we used to rent 2 different houses, and at one time we actually put a big tent in the back in one house and set up the Octagon, weights, and everything that we need to get it done right there without leave the spot. Was a couple times pretty amazing. But back to your questions, like, he's great, like, good skills, strong guy.
Was he in camp?
Good, normal, not drama. We actually invite a lot of people to went up there, and it's kind of like a Big Bear is kind of tricky because it takes like a week for you to get used to the altitude, and then after that it's kind of almost like a fun joke to invite people down to go there to train, because they're gonna die.
Yes, out.
2-3 minutes into.
The altitude. The altitude's very high there.
Like, destroy you, and then it is fun after you're there for a little while, but it's not fun to adjust yourself to that point. Yeah, it's kind of brutal. So I have funny story from Rampage, fun story from you name it, from everybody that get up there and don't kind of like, it's very, very difficult feeling. Is I think the worst feelings the fighter can feel is altitude and jet lag and altitude. I think is the worst that can destroy any good fighter if they're not prepared for that, in my opinion.
Some of the people that were up there with you: Gerald Strebendt, Tito Ortiz, Rico Rodriguez. You guys also got into a car accident during that camp.
Who did it? I don't remember who did it. It was not me. Yeah, like I actually crashed my car, but it was not too bad. It was just like kind of slide into. I used to have a Hummer H3 in 2003, and it was just snowing pretty bad, and I just like one of these, you stop and that keep going into to the wall, but not bad, and just kind of back up and keep going. But
there was a rumor that you guys like accidentally slid into a car with 2 local people. They jump out of the car, angry, looking for a fight. You guys exit, and then they started apologizing.
I don't remember that. So I to help you on that one.
No, it's okay. How was working out with Gerald Strebendt? Eddie Bravo, black belt, twister guy, very skilled on the ground.
Yes. I can't really remember. I'm not want to make things up. Just
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So your neutral grounds fight, June 28th, 1998. You win by armbar in 25 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of had people talking about you, but it was more like questions like, come on, this guy can't be doing this. Like, it's fluke is what they had said. You then fought in a 4-man tournament for the Extreme Challenge 22 title in Utah, November 21st, 1998. Your first opponent, an incredible stud in Yves Edwards.
Love him.
Tell us, man, how'd you win that one?
Yeah.
Armbar. Another one.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's good.
He's very
him
good.
a lot. He's very good. Yeah. I wish I was able to armbar Kleber to shut the fuck out of him a little bit.
Well,
I think
let's do this. So the main event, I mean, the title fight in the 4-man was Kleber Luciano. Joey Venti, why don't you describe kind of what the rivalry was like between these two in California?
Well, there's always these rumors that the gyms were challenging each other and that Kleber would challenge Fabiano to a jiu-jitsu match, but at this
100%.
point, you are in MMA. So you were saying, no, if you're going to fight me, it has to be in MMA. And the rumor is that when Kleber signed up for this tournament, he didn't know you were in it.
I was not in.
He didn't know till the weigh-in, and it was too late to back out. Is that right?
100% right. I used the first. Thank you. You're the first person that described exactly the way it was.
Joey, don't you ever take my moments from me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. He used to like our gym was very close in Huntington Beach. So he used to walk into my gym and challenge me to, let's do this jiu-jitsu tournament with Guy. I'm like, dude, how many times I'm gonna have to tell you that I don't do Guy anymore? I'm in a different level. I'm an MMA fighter. You know, like I've been fighting all over the place, and you want me to go ahead and do one jiu-jitsu Gi match with you that every single time that you win by points because you do a little point and stall the whole fight, you know, the whole time. And like, you think I'm gonna go to that world? I don't want to do that. And he's like going back online and talk a lot of shit. And then one beautiful day, I was in my house just checking of like, you know, on the internet stuff, and then I'm like, I saw the Extreme Challenge, and then I'm like, Kleber Luciano. I'm like, oh no. And the whole thing, you know, the card was already set, was and then I called my manager and I told my manager to say,
who was your manager? Who was it?
That time was no. I bring his name up and then
go ahead with your story.
But anyway, I call him and then say, get me in that fight. I don't care. And then he called
Money Cox.
And Monica, like, we are low budget. We don't have the budget to pay Fabiano. And then I say, I fight for free. How about that? How about that? Get me in. He's like, how much?
That's Monty's language. That is Monty's love language.
Yes. He say, no, that's okay. I say, I pay you, I pay you what I offer the guy. I say, how much is that? It's like $1,000 if you win the tournament. So I'm in. I don't care. Like, so I told him, but let's do this. You gotta keep this secret all the way to Friday on the way in, because if you let it go before that, Fab is gonna back up. I don't want to give him any room for him to back up. I want him. And then he's like, okay, it's a deal. And then I walk in on the Friday on the press conference for the weigh-in, and then I pass by him and his wife, and I say, I got you now, bitch. You're not going anywhere. It's like, now we're gonna fight. And then he's making a big deal. It's like, what? Like I say, what? Now that's it. What excuse you gonna
give? The fight. Yeah.
The day before the fight. And then he did good on his first fight. He also, I think he won by a choke.
And what gym is he representing at this time?
Marco Ruas.
Oh, he's with who? Oh, so there's deep roots there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Clever is also with Marco Ruas?
No. Clever was Rickson Gracie.
He's with Rickson.
Yeah. He was with Rickson. Rickson was not there, but his Rickson black belt.
Yeah, you had Ruas in your corner. Joe, he had Ruas in his corner. That's what.
That's right. Kleber won his first fight against Victor Hunsaker, who was a tough guy from California.
Very good fighter.
I think he underappreciated Victor Hunsaker.
Yes.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I trained with him before. He's good because he did fought and locks in neutral grounds before, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I met him from Ryan.
Yeah, he fought Javi Vasquez. He fought Savant Young. I think both at neutral grounds. So he fought a lot.
Yeah. No, he was good. I was like surprised that they actually went pretty far up. The rules was different. Remember, the rules was 10 minutes for the one round for 10 minutes and another round 5 minutes. Instead of 3 5-minute round, was 1 10 minutes and another 5.
So when Kleber would go into your gym and challenge you to gi matches, would he bring up the fact that you were with Marco at the time?
No, not at all. It's just like again, he was just like, oh, I want to do like this, come like do the super fight with me against me, and here I'm like, dude, I don't do jiu-jitsu anymore. How many times am I gonna have to tell you that I don't do jiu-jitsu? And then I like, let's do MMA fight. If let's do MMA. He's like, I don't do MMA either. I'm like, okay, so we're not talking the same language. We're not on the same page. Yeah. And then,
go to the next gym. Go bother somebody at the next gym across the street.
Yeah. Go somebody else and leave me alone. But
when he would do that, did Ruas ever? Because Marco was kind of a guy that. Not going to say he's got a short fuse, but somebody that would lean into the opportunity of fighting. Would any of the other people at the gym, when he would do this to you, ever almost get involved?
No. Oh, no. It was not like he was not actually coming on the disrespectful way. Okay. Let's put it this way. Yeah. He was like, walking in. Hi, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. We have this. This big tournament coming up. Do you want to do a super fight against me? And then I'm just like, no, I don't do jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like very civilized conversation, not kind of like he come with his team and nothing like that.
But you had enough. Yeah, you had enough. Okay.
Yeah. But to the point, I'm like, come on, What's bad was what he was talking after he left. Because he was like, oh, he's a coward. He didn't want to like. That's what got me into. It's like, come on, man. You come here, we talk very nicely, and then you leave and start talk shit, So, but
how does the fight end? How does the fight end?
Fight end very good. Like like a clear knockout, not the best knockout ever, but it was a knockout. Back in that time, I was not. My stand-up was. I wasn't processing or learning like using my hands and my legs. Getting better stand-up with Marcos, but was not that great yet. But was able to catch him on the shin, and he went down. And then later on, he was saying to everybody that he was not knockout. I was like, I think you don't have TV at home, buddy. Just watch the video.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you call yourself a fight fan and you've not seen this fight, it is on Fight Pass, and it is a good expenditure of 8 minutes of your time. It's a treat. It's an old relic. You've got to go see it.
Yeah.
What was the feeling afterward? Did you guys shake hands, or did you just kind of part ways?
I actually, I be honest with you, the one that kind of like spiced up the whole thing was his wife. His wife kind of like is the one that kind of like managed the gym and stuff. She was the one that was kind of like throwing us against each other. Like to the point that I was like, come on, stop doing this. Like I personally never have any problems against Kleber. It's just like she was kind of pushing the whole time. Like I never
Okay,
even got it.
Let me translate for everybody. Sometimes there's men that are with women that get in lots of fist fights because of their women. This is one of them.
That's one of them, for sure.
This is one of them.
For sure. Yeah. I saw Kleber a couple years ago, and it was just like,
Did you ask if he was divorced?
Yeah, exactly. No, he's still with his wife, but I was like, it's funny because I went to see Rampage, and at the gym, the old HV training center with Tiki, my old partner, and so
Tiki Goshen, another legend of the California scene.
Yeah. And Tiki been doing very great for the sport right now. He managed a lot of fighters and training. He's doing very well. So when I get out the car, I was with one of my friends, and I get out the car, and my friend said, "Oh no, oh shit, look who's there." I'm like, "Who's that?" I was Kleber. And then it's like, no, there's no way about it. It's like our thing is like underpass, It's nothing
history.
Within history.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
History.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. You also worked out with Raw Team, Real American Wrestling. It was Rico Chiapparelli, Dan Henderson, Randy Couture, Wander Braga, Vlad Matyushenko, Frank Trigg. I think Frank Shamrock was there for a little bit. Amazing lineup.
Experience. Yeah. They are like a very strong team, very tight together. Also. Go ahead.
What was your favorite memory of working out with those guys?
Well, Randy, Randy's Randy, classic, I forgot what his name.
Dan Henderson.
Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson is something else, man. Dan Henderson is the guy, when you see him training at the gym, you can never in your life imagine that he can do that good inside the ring. He's a completely different guy.
This is exactly okay. So in our Chris Leben interview, Chris Leben said, this is kind of an off comment. Yeah, Dan doesn't win a lot of rounds in practice.
No. It's like, I don't know. It looks like he's a different guy. They're walking into the fight. It's like
you turn on the lights and he's a monster.
He is. He's incredible, different fighter from training session to actually the fight. Like I see the opposite. Very good guy, incredible, amazing on training. And when they step into the ring, they cannot deliver it.
Joe Riggs.
A couple other ones. But, he's the opposite. It's like almost to the point, like, please don't fight. You're going to get killed.
Clay Guida's the same way. Clay Guida's the same way. Well, Clay Guida's the same way as like Dan Henderson. It's people in the practice room will just be like, what do we got here? You ring the bell and, it's exactly who you want in there.
He's a different person. And I don't need to, to say to you guys how good he is. Amazing.
Wow. What was your thoughts of Rico Chiapparelli?
Very, very good technical, very, very good on wrestling. He knows back in the day, he used to know exactly what he was doing. Very technical, tough as well. And he did have all the guys under control pretty much in that time. He was the captain of the team.
Well, all right. At this time, like you and Wander Braga go over there, but it was pretty controversial because, all right, Mars has an event where Tom Erickson fights Bustamante, and Schiaparelli is in Erickson's corner, and he gave Erickson maybe like a month and a half of how to defeat jiu-jitsu and defend against jiu-jitsu. And even though that fight between Bustamante and Erickson was a draw, Renzo Gracie, he threw Rico Schiaparelli out of his gym, stripped him of his belt ranking, everything. So with you guys going over to Raw Team, was there any pushback from the Brazilian side?
No, like I heard several times a lot of shit from everybody, because I was like, I'm open mind, means
you don't care.
I came from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I came from jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is in my heart, yes. But I cannot be like a horse into the track and don't see what's going on, that you need to learn more to become a good fighter. And then if you ask me, yes, did I went to places to learn Muay Thai? Yes, I did. Did I went to places to learn wrestling? Yes, I did, because I felt that I need to learn more. I was only with my ability to get armbar from everywhere. It was not gonna get me what I want. I need something else. And then I didn't kind of like, I didn't want to be into that old mentality that, if I am in this tribe, I should only be on this tribe. I was like, no, like, if you have something good. And also I was very open to show anybody that, that I was training with what I had, not worry about anything else, not worry about stuff that could hurt me at the end. I was like, no, let's, like, what you have good takedown, show me that takedown, show me how to use my hips, where I put my hand, I'm getting myself, because I need that. And the same way, I'm like, okay, on the ground you can do this, that, like changing information that some of the jiu-jitsu guys don't like that. They don't really like that. So
yeah, well, Chris Brendan in our interview, he and Mark Lehman, we didn't interview Mark, but he had said that in some of the instruction that he had received at the Gracie Academy, in the later on belts, they would teach kind of the opposite. And it was like they were teaching bad things in order to kind of beat the system. And he's like, because when he figured that out, it was time for him to leave. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He was not lying. Put this way, all I can say is that he was not lying about that.
And on the Gracie side, they want the advantage. They always, if their family is fighting, I also understand they also want to have a little bit of control, or the table tilted their way. But once jiu-jitsu, the secret got out, there was no containing it. There was no containing it.
Yeah, it was too late. Exactly. It was just like, now it's just
branding. It's just branding at that point.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then my opinion between Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy and against American jiu-jitsu guy is that the Brazilian, they born with a gift, so they don't need like a gift of learning and do things very fluid without a lot of training. On the American side, what I see is that American guy, when he's good, is he put a lot of timing, a lot of training into that. He's not as gifted as the Brazilians, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And then
they have to work harder. They have to work harder.
Thank you. Some of the Brazilians, they are gifted, but they're lazy. Instead of, some of the American guys, they're not that gifted, but they train hard and get there that way.
That's interesting. That's actually wow. All right, California scene. How difficult was it for you to adjust from Brazil to California?
Back in the days, a little bit. Like I came in, I was not speaking English at all. I couldn't speak a word in English when I arrived here a long time ago. I maybe still not, maybe still not speaking very well, but at least I communicate now. But it was difficult that way. But I miss old California. I miss my California when I moved here. Because I left Brazil for several reasons that I face it here now. So now I'm like, what the fuck,
I had no idea. I mean, I'm from Chicago. It's paradise here too, man. I mean, this is exactly what I always wanted to be in. This place right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No. One of the lifestyle things that changes from Brazil to California, dude, this is a crazy question, but it was a rumor. There was an underground fight in 1999 that was kind of coupled with the adult film industry. So there would be a fight, and then after the fight, there would be an act from the adult film industry, and then there would be a fight afterward. There was a rumor that you had fought on a card like that. Is that true?
No.
Okay.
No.
Damn it! I wanted that one to be true.
I know that.
Damn it!
It was a one promoter one time that he put some porno star and some strippers to fight against each other, but that's the only thing that I remember that kind of close to that story.
It's
but it was
probably exactly what they were.
Yeah, and
you
know who fought? Okay. You know who fought in that?
Tell me.
Yves Edward fought in that.
Really?
Really?
Yes, it was funny because he actually stayed in my house for that time. I invited him to come, and he stayed in my house, and everybody was like, "Don't you guys just fought?" I was like, "Yeah, man, it's a professional fight. I have nothing against the guy." Yeah, and he came, he fought, and it was probably that was the rumors of that.
Okay, so when you fought Yves Edwards, you had Marco Ruas in your corner, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yves Edwards had Bas Rutten in his corner then, didn't he?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the three of you guys were all working out at the same gym at the same time.
Yeah, it's like we are like friends. We're definitely friends.
In our interview with Yves Edwards, he described Marco Ruas picking him up, and he said he was talking a mile a minute, asking questions to a guy that didn't speak English, and it did not stop him from talking to Marco Ruas the entire ride to the venue.
And Marco probably didn't even understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
And Marco is like a quiet guy. He doesn't talk too much. Yeah. He's very quiet.
Did you know the history between he and Rickson Gracie? Were they ever? What was the story between them? I had heard that Rickson was challenged to fight by Marco several times. What do you know about this?
Exactly what everybody knows. Like it's the whole Jiu-Jitsu against Vale Tudo. Marco Ruas was the Vale Tudo guy. Rickson was the Jiu-Jitsu guy. Was always that the back and forth challenge, like several times. The fight almost happened. Pride actually tried to make it happen. There was rumors one time that they all signed a contract. It's gonna happen, but of course, never did happen.
What's your opinion of it?
They definitely didn't like each other. It's not. I don't even think. Okay, let's put it this way. I cannot say that they don't like each other. I think it's just the system put them against each other. I don't think it's personal. I don't think they even never thought. They never spoke to each other, in my opinion. It's just like the whole.
Pedro Rizzo told us that Marco challenged him 3 times.
He did, but not like just like online or nothing like kind of face to face. Maybe in Pride they have kind of like got into like face to face kind of, but I don't remember pretty much.
So with Rickson Gracie, all of my jiu-jitsu heroes, all of them, my heroes, guys that I admire, all say that he is the best. But when you look at his body of work in MMA, like if I compare his work to Renzo or Royce, I would say Royce was a better finisher. Renzo was definitely more aggressive.
I agree.
Where do you fall in that?
I never have the opportunity to train with Rickson. I try a million times. I did heard from very, very good jiu-jitsu guys that when they train against Rickson, they felt like they are white belt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
From now on,
legitimate people.
Yes, and we're talking about the best ones.
Best of the best.
The best ones.
Arona,
okay?
Sperry. Yes.
This is not making up. This is the truth. But do I agree with you that his performance on the MMA was not that great? I do also.
You can't point to a single fight where you're like, that's the greatest fighter in the world. You can't do it. You can't do it now. Maybe on the mat. But the mat in the ring are two different things.
I have no doubt that Rickson on his prime, he could fight if he was able to fight any person on this planet, included Marco Ruas. And if he was able to take him down and get close, the fight is over.
Yeah.
But things changed a lot from back in the days to now. Back in like maybe these days he go against somebody that was not gonna be able to even put the guy on the ground. If he don't put the guy on the ground, he's nobody.
And I also, and this is just me thirsty for knowledge. This is nothing other than, man, please, I need to know. Like with his top game, obviously very solid, but how was his bottom game? Like if you've got Mark Schultz, he shows up, at Mark Schultz's practice. Mark, obviously an Olympic gold medalist. In 40 minutes, he was able to get 2 submissions. That's it. In 40 minutes, so 1 submission every 20 minutes. So was it the back game that had issues? Was it just the strength of Mark Schultz? It's just, there's so many questions, and it's just, my heroes say he's the best. I got to believe it.
Rickson also is very smart guy in terms of saving. If he's feeling that his opponent is stronger than him, he kind of like patient to the point that, okay, let me drag his energy out and get him later. So but I heard from other people that he can play, he can do well with his back on the ground, and he can do well all over. And then kind of like when you think that you're doing well, you're not really doing well. He gets something like when you play chess against, when you play chess against the champion, that you get 1 or 2 pieces and like, oh, I'm getting this guy, and then pretty much it's like checkmate.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think that the biggest weakness of the American wrestler, and it's a huge one, they don't like to accept certain positions. And
Yes.
the jiu-jitsu player, and they use strength rather than technique, to where the jiu-jitsu player accepts the position. They use technique more than strength. Yeah.
So again, Rickson was my hero when I started. He's gonna still my hero to the end. I think what he did was pretty solid, very good for where we are right now. Everybody has a little contribution for that, and I think he has a lot.
He really limited who he gave black belts to as well. Like, he made sure that if he was going to put his name on somebody, that they were worthy of it. So his black belt list is very short.
Yes. I heard that he's been recording everything that he knows to leave to the planet. So let's see.
He recorded the Mark Schultz grappling match. He's been recording everything, a lot of Gracie in action stuff that never made it to the light of day. He still has on tape. I would love to see some of that stuff. I really would.
Yes. I can tell you that you maybe will, because they are rumors of, not rumors, it is a script already there for movie on his life, and that kind of like documentary, kind of like movie into fresh movie, kind of like a movie with kind of like real image from the past. So that is maybe gonna happen.
Yeah, good. Let's talk about your UFC debut, UFC 20, May 7th, 1999. Laverne Clark, Joey, this is a Midwest all-star. Like, I've seen Laverne Clark fight maybe 15 times live. That guy hits like a brick truck.
Oh, he's a stud.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a heartbreaker. Was it a heel hook you were going for, or straight ankle?
Yeah. Well, walk us through it. Walk us through the fight.
Okay. Again, guys, what I'm gonna say right now, it's nothing for me to make up. It's like I lost the first fight, and that's it. Okay, but what happened was back in that time, UFC was trying to get back to cable, to pay-per-view and everything. So they didn't want to show too much blood.
Okay. I will absolutely vouch for that, because I remember this being a conversation around this time. Go ahead.
So anyway, he threw a punch, and the Velcro of the Velcro copy. So when he threw that punch, I got tiny little cut wide in my forehead. Was, to say, not even an inch. Not deep. Right after that, I went for a knee bar. I have him on a knee bar. If you watch that fight again, you're gonna see him tapping in my back.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what his name? The referee, the Brazilian
Mizugaki.
Mario Yamazaki. He stopped the
Mario
fight.
Yamasaki.
He stopped the fight because, of course, if you guys ever in your life got any cut in your forehead and you put yourself upside down, that bleeds like crazy. Okay, so they stopped the fight, and then I forgot his name, the owner, the UFC at that time.
What was UFC 20 Switzerland, Bob Meyerowitz?
Yes. Bob came to me and say, I was on the side. He said, Fabiano, I'm gonna have to stop this fight. I can have you go back in, because I can't have that much blood on TV. He said, I promise you, I bring you guys back, but please help me out here. Don't make this a big deal. I have to stop this fight. I say, what else? Even if I say no,
it's all, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
Exactly. And then after, on the press conference, Laverne came in the wheelchair. He could even walk. And then he's like, yeah, he destroyed my.
Yeah, he said it in a post-fight press conference. It was real,
Yeah.
like in a real small room at that point. Yeah,
and exactly. It's like, I was not big as today, you know. So and then actually we end up getting back in the ring together again. So and then I was able to guide him an armbar upside down. Mario again was the referee.
He's also Japanese Brazilian, like yourself.
Yes.
I figured you guys would at least ride together on these.
We actually, when I fought in Pride, actually he was he walked with me on Pride at that time. Me, him, my dad, like he was there already. He helped me a little bit, but I just we went kind of like a little bit apart after the fight that he stopped. I didn't like too much the idea, but nothing personal. It was just like I thought it was a bad call. But
right, of course. Frank Trigg, you talked about that. That is your next fight. You were out there training somebody else. You end up fighting Frank Trigg instead.
Frank, I knew it that again he was 20 pounds over me on that time.
Your former teammate too from Raw.
Yes,
teammate.
We trained before, so I knew what he was able to. Way stronger than me, and I was not training. I was not kind of like physically ready for that fight. So I walk in, and I did, pa 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 pa. Oh shit! Nothing else. So I went straight. Got him armbar, triangle. Didn't get it. And that's it. I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Somebody that I believe belongs in the UFC Hall of Fame is your next opponent, UFC 24, Dave Mene, March 10th, 2000. Dave Mene, I mean, I think he's got about 40 fights at this time.
Yeah. Dave Mene, it is definitely, it's so funny because you say that, because I fought him and we went on distance. And I don't know if you ever watched that fight. He kind of like got some damage. I walked out clean. And he also almost 20 pounds over me, because that time I was fighting at 170 pounds, but I was 178 pounds, so walking in 178. So I was dropping 8 pounds to make the weight. They dropped.
Dave was cutting heavy.
195. Yeah, 195.
I would, at this point, in terms of versatility and intelligence, he might be the most advanced American fighter living at this point.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then again, I got a phone call from John Pereira after the fight that night. Not after the fight. Sorry. My bad. It was not after the fight. After Dave Mene won the tournament in Quiet. After he won the tournament in Quiet, that he beat Matt Hughes, he beat
Barklev. He fought Barklev. He was supposed to be given a title belt made of gold. In our Dave Mene interview, he talked about putting it in storage at a bank for years and years. He and his, he's going to go by his house. He goes to the store and they said, "Dude, this is tin. This is not gold."
That part I don't know, but what I know is that he did beat very good guys.
Oh, dude, Barklev is a stud. Are you kidding? Yeah.
And then John Pereira called me the day that the next day. He said, "Fabiano, did you see what Dave did?" And then I'm like, "Yes." He said, "I just want to let you know that you are a very good fighter, man. Don't put yourself down because you lost for him, because you lost for one of the best fighters on the planet."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Thank you. Make me feel better."
Bustamante took the belt from him. Yeah.
Yeah. But from my opinion, also one of the best fighters ever, in my opinion.
Dude.
No doubt about
it. We just dropped his
Everybody
episode.
asks me who is the middleweight.
GOAT?
Like, I always bring his name because I still don't know why he stopped fighting, because he stopped, in my opinion, too early and without no reason. Kind of like, when he was on pride of his career, he was beating everybody up.
Yeah. King of the Cage, your original opponents, John Alessio, June 24, 2000. They pull in Danny Bennett instead. Joey, the California scene, King of the Cage, you were at a lot of these. Danny Bennett really came in with a lot of hype.
Yeah, I was at this one. John Awano got me some good seats for this one. And Danny Boy came in after 2 giant knockouts in Super Brawl, where he had a lot of hype. And it was kind of the last of the old school pure striker versus jiu-jitsu guy, Not to say you didn't have some stand-up, and he had a little ground, I guess, but
not on his
level. No, he was like a national title holder for kickboxing.
Yeah. But he had been head kicking people into unconsciousness. So how is this one going to shake out? And Fabiano, he needs to get back on track if he wants to get back in UFC. And I think it took you 49 seconds to be back on track.
How do we do it, Fabiano?
It was like that. I knew it that he's not the only one. It was a couple other fighters that or either going to me getting knocked out or them getting armbar. And again, I was, I succeeded very, very, very well on the shooting. I got close to him. I was able to put him down, and from there it was just history. Like his ground game was definitely not on my level, as the same as my stand up was not on his level.
Right.
So it was just like, that kind of like the fight that people were expecting to see, or either me getting knocked out or him getting submit. So luckily that was my day.
I mean, but you're finishing people with just relative ease, though. Like it was, listen, Fabiano, I'm not even going to lie to you. Everybody was like, come on. And like the guys that you were going up against, he's not going to do that to me. Like you fight Takasi while he's in your corner, December 16, 2000, UFC 29. This is the time you were training with Mark Kerr out in Big Bear. So you had a really good camp. You knocked him out in 224. The person I was referring to, he's not going to do this to me, is your opponent, February 23rd, 2001, UFC 30, Phil Johns.
Little giant.
Yeah. I like him. He was, we never have, nothing against each other. He was a very classic guy. The first and only fighter that I thought that was shorter than me.
Yeah. So Phil actually's got the record for being the shortest UFC fighter.
Oh yeah, yes. That's new.
Illinois.
That explains.
Currently teaching gym class at a high school. The thing with Phil Johns is his camp, like he's from like a really, really small city in Illinois, like maybe 15,000 people there. Bob Long being his head trainer. If you get one person to the UFC, most gyms never experience that. Bob Long got Derek Noble, Kenny Robertson, and Phil Johns. He's put three people
there. That's
into the UFC. Yeah, that's legit. How do you? Okay, dude, this one hurt, man. How do you finish that Phil fight?
Let me think.
Flying armbar. Flying armbar.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, you ain't catching me like that. Ain't happening.
So the fighters that I believe, the fighters that came and fought against me and got caught on the armbar, the bigger mistake of them, in my opinion, is that they end up before on training preparation against me. They end up, let me train somebody and just like learn how to escape armbar. It's like I have a gift since the day one. Since the day one I walked into the jiu-jitsu mat, my gift was armbar. I was a black belt in armbar when I was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. That makes sense?
Yep.
So when the fighters used to come against me and they train with somebody else to try to learn how to escape against armbar, they can escape against their armbar, not mine. I'm in like a different level. So if they go ahead and train not to get themselves in there, it's different. That's probably like Dave Mene, all the guys that did it. They study and they not went to the mentality like, oh, I'm just gonna, like train how to escape armbar, and I'm gonna do well with him. No, they're like, I'm not gonna let him even get close to get to my arm. And they did it well. So, like all the people that for all these years they have chance to train with me before, they know that I get armbar from all over the place. Doesn't matter what. I used to. Got a little old, slow, but on the prime time, I think that's my opinion about that. So when you go against somebody that's very gifted, very good in one position, don't try to even get that. Just avoid that, because you unless that you be able to train with somebody that as good as him, don't do it, because they've been doing that the whole life. You can do that if the eye closed. So
was there any issues between you and Ricardo Almeida?
No, never that I know.
At UFC 32, June 29, 2001, you fight Caol Uno.
Mm-hmm.
You can see him cheering at the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, Caol Uno was one of the biggest, in my opinion, biggest mistake in my life. I explained to you guys what happened on that. So what happened that Caol Uno used to come and train with me. My gym used to be his camping training in the US. So I trained with him several times. But I made a couple mistakes. One mistake was that I used to fight welterweight and he used to fight lightweight. So he used to be 155 pounds. I used to be 178 pounds. What else? So the whole time that I trained with him, I was heavier than him. And when I fought him, I dropped to fight him in 155. That was one of my the first time that I fought on that weight division, and I didn't do well. My body didn't do very well cutting that much weight. I have migraines problem, and then I dehydrate myself. I destroy myself but again.
So when you dehydrate, they say the first to get rid of the water is your head, your brain, and it's also the last to replenish.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an absolute art in cutting weight.
Yeah. I don't do well cutting weight. So I realized that after 2 losses in the 155, and then went back to 170 again, because I prefer to fight somebody that's 200 pounds, dropping to 170, and then just me be 178, lose 8 pounds. That is, is easy, and walking without being sick, then be 155 and very weak and sick. And on top of that, I'm man enough to admit that I was too cocky. I was too cocky at that time. I thought that I was gonna destroy him. I'm like, because on training I used to get him anything that I want. Like submit him. I want to get him an armbar, get him choke, what else I want. And to the point I'm like, are you serious? Like, are you gonna fight me? So mentally I was too cocky, and I learned my lesson.
You were with Team Oyama at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was team punishment, pretty much.
What was it like? You and Tito, were you partners in punishment athletics?
Yeah, we built that together. Mm-hmm. We built that together, but I was more like the business part of. I was putting together to the point that to the end I just walk out because it was his his brain and his idea. I was just putting together as a business guy. So I realized that okay, it didn't work out. You deserve to have it. It's it's your name, your brain. So that was it, pretty much.
Wander Braga, how was your experience with him?
Very good jiu-jitsu guy. Like just could not, for some reason, didn't have chance to put his career together. But yeah, that was it. He was helped me on one of my gym in Eagle Rock for a little while, teaching the time that I was fighting. So when I used to go to Big Bear and stay there, he was the one that was teaching my students.
At the Hitman Fighting Promotions, November 9th, 2002, Flavio Tricoli, was this at the time where Hitman had to submit fake results in order to get around the athletic commission? Fake result, we're filming a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would have
to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're saying, because athletic, again, we come to the time there was no law there. The law was not established in that time. Commission, the athletic commission used to come in an event and say, "Are we gonna shoot down?" And like, by law, you guys should not do that. It's like, and there's no law about that. So yeah, we all figured out a way to kind of like go around that. And one of the way they used to do is that pretend there was a movie set. It was one of the ways, like up all the ways that people used to do to be able to get everybody there and not get shut down by the commission.
Let's talk about what took place backstage. Babalu Sobral was on the card. He was fighting Chael Sonnen.
Good fight.
In a match that he claims he won. The script had Chael Sonnen winning, and just kind of chaos backstage.
I think he won, to be honest with you. I was there.
He was looking for Paul Herrera backstage. Paul was hiding in a closet. Is there truth to that?
No, I don't think Paul needs to do that, to be honest with you. Paul did have bad experience against in the UFC against what was his name?
Was it Gary Goodrich?
No,
Goodrich.
Thank you. Yeah, Goodrich. Yeah, but Paul's pretty tough. Paul can handle himself. He don't need to hide in the closet. Definitely not. maybe to avoid confrontation.
Did you ever train with Babalu?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. You obviously were friends with Tito Ortiz, but he and Tito, they never got along, and Babalu really wanted to fight him. Yeah. What was your opinion on that?
Actually, that'd be a very good fight back in the days. Could be a very good fight. Because I think Babalu is definitely better than Tito on the stand-up, and on the ground. It'd be interesting. It's just Tito's Tito. Tito back in the days, he has a good cardio. He knows how to use the cage very well. Use the elbow and the wrestling, the background that he has. So, be an interesting fight.
Why do you think it never took place?
No idea. No idea. Even if they are training partners for a little while, but Tito and Rampage also be interesting, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You guys were going to do an event April 29, 2006, XFC Rebirth. Ryan Chenoweth, and Tito Ortiz were the promoters. How come that event never took place? What was
UFC, buddy. UFC knows how to put the strings to make things very difficult. We actually was one of the first organization to get the license to throw a event in Los Angeles. It was supposed to be the first legal event in Los Angeles, and I dealt with so many bullshit, so many like talking about power bullshit that you were like, wow.
Joey, this is our segue into mentioning Armando Garcia's name.
Okay.
Yes. That's
yes.
It. You say off. That was it. That he was definitely on a payroll from UFC. That was not even a joke.
Wow. He's currently head of security for Station Casinos.
Here we go.
So he's actually on the that owner's payroll. I mean, anything stand out in regards to dealing with him that could make a good story?
Yeah, I tell you, example, back in the times, of course, you do the whole medical exams for the fighters. So we have the full cards, everything. So now we send it, the main event, we send the medical exams to Sacramento, I think was in that time. And then they bring that they never get it. We never receive it. And then like, how we didn't receive it? It's tracking, signing paper that we send. It's here. You guys got it. No, we didn't get it. Without the medical exam, the whole event gets shut down. It's not going to happen because without the main event, if the main event doesn't happen, the show cannot happen. And then it was stuff like that. Like over and over and over, that to the point that we decided to not do it. We couldn't make it happen. It was really bad.
Wow. Yeah, Armando Garcia, quite a controversial figure in mixed martial arts.
Yeah. He definitely like hurt a lot let's say the growing up of several different organizations that could be there to stop the monopoly of UFC, if I put it this way.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that at all. You also fought for Kaja in Lockdown in Paradise against John Cox. Kaja, was he the original Octagon designer, in your opinion?
Yes.
How sure are you of that?
Well, sure, from the stories on that time, from the whole like break down the whole process, that Art Dave came to Kaja gym. I think he has the Octagon and a gym, something like that, and took the design. When the UFC was planning to have event and changed from ring to Octagon. And the proof of that is that, was that several times that that UFC back in the days when you try to throw an event that has Octagon, and UFC is to go ahead and send the lawyers and shut the whole thing down because could use the Octagon. They never did against Kaja.
That's a point.
Kaja used to have documentation.
Yeah, so what the UFC did was that they patented the use of the Octagon and they would go after companies countrywide. This is like maybe 90. If I had 95 to 97. So there was events in Chicago that received legal paperwork. And Kaja's in their backyard. Like they know he's there.
Kaja was doing one a month for years.
Yes. Yeah. And never got shot down.
Yeah.
So,
that's the best argument I've heard so far for that being legit.
Yeah. So
I've looked for video. I've looked for I've seen some posters, but
I actually put I sign in on Kaja on that one. In my opinion. Yeah.
Your move from Brazil, how difficult was it for you? Was there a reason? When did you know you had to leave?
Well, very difficult because I'm not saying all, but most of the fighters that came from Brazil, they come from very tough, growing up or poor, community and stuff. Not me. I came in. I have my nightclub. I used to have my own business. Before that, I used to have several business. I was okay. I still own my properties, everything back home. I just have a dream, and I pursued my dream to come here and two things that was to become UFC fighter and work in the movies. And after a couple of years, my intention was just to come do that and go back. But it's just like when you get used to the system, it's hard to go back, very hard to go back because things are different there. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It's difficult to live in Brazil because the crime is pretty high.
Yeah.
Compared to US back in the day.
We're getting there now. Man, bro.
We're not too far from Brazil, man. Like it's crazy because I asked myself several times, I'm like, come on, I moved from Brazil to stay away and kind of like have my kids away from all this bullshit that is happening here now. It's sad. It's really sad because US, in my opinion, used to be number one, and it's not there anymore.
It's a calculated demolition, is what this is. It's 100%. It's calculated. Yeah. It's calculated. It's intentional.
I remember when I arrived here that I was driving around. And then I was like, oh my God, it's no homeless. It's no people bother you on the light. In Brazil, if you stop on the light, it's guys doing tricks and it's guys trying to clean your windows, like all kind of vendors, all kind of, shit all over. And then I was like, oh my God, it's no homeless. It's like I could actually leave my car parking in front my house with the windows open with stuff inside, don't even worry about. And all that's gone, and you start to see people get arms robbed here in Studio City, and I'm like, what? What happened? They lost control, really lost control. And then people going to the mall and together and rob, like you see it in the news, stuff that, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, did they learn that from Brazil?
Yeah, it's sad.
They learn all this crime from Brazil.
Yeah, all you can do is have a positive mindset, positive hope. Let's we're wrapping up right now. Let me ask you a few more questions. Jason Farron, UFC 4, was he one of your students?
Yes, he was. Mm-hmm. He was not at that time. He came after. He became after. Yes. great guy, tragic final story about his life, but
I couldn't find anything online. I know he had passed.
he
could you-
he committed suicide.
Oh,
I don't know the reason, but very good guy. I'm telling you, good horn. He's sometimes you can actually understand why. Yeah.
Chad Washburn.
Chad. When was Chad?
Mike Me Too? Meto?
Don't. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you where this comes from. I go through like old jujitsu, like when I try to find like students, and you got to remember, there's very little on you. There's if Fabiano is, there's very little. So what I do is I go through old jujitsu records and I look for people's like gym associations, and those are the two I was able to find. Chad, obviously, kind of like if you're an MMA fan, you from the old days, you definitely know who he is. But no, so that's what I do. I try to go through the old jujitsu records and just kind of piece it together.
I was like,
that way.
where you got that? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I apologize. All right, let me close with this, and you know what? I'll close. And Joey, if you got something, please, by all means. Erik Paulson, did you ever work out with him?
I did. I did work out with him at Danny Innocento gym.
So Erik Paulson started doing privates with Royce and Rickson in like
back in the days,
86, 87. 86, 87. Do you think politics stopped him from being a part of the Dirty Dozen?
Most like, yeah. Yeah, I say yes. I say yes for sure.
What was the pushback in regards to Erik?
Again, he was I think they kind of like every time they see a potential of somebody be a problem, they push it back. Problem means the guy has skills, has potential.
Not controlled.
Yes, and it's not, at the end of the day, he's not part of the family. So he got pushed back. Yeah, he did have his skills, very good on leg locks, so again, that's my own opinion on that.
Joey, coming up in LA, I got to have a front row seat to a lot of your career, and it was an honor. It was an honor to see such an athletic guy taking jiu-jitsu to like the next level. We all got used to seeing Royce, where the premise was, even if you're not a super athlete, this stuff works. And you were kind of the second generation coming in where, hey, no, this guy is a dynamite athlete on top of the skill. So it was a lot of fun to watch. The only thing I have that we didn't cover is the Din Thomas fight, victory in Vegas. That was the most interesting UFC I've ever been to, because it was the first UFC where Vegas is finally making it legal, and it comes 2.5 weeks after 9/11.
Yes.
Like if there was ever a reason for the company to throw in the towel and say, we'll try it again later.
But that was that close.
Yeah.
That close. Yeah.
But the fans still came out for you guys. We were so motivated to support you. We weren't going to miss it.
Yeah, it was a little sad also, because the whole time I was training without that 100% sure that the fight was going to happen.
Right.
I was actually the opposite. Like I was like, I'm training. Why I'm training? This is not going to happen.
Right.
It's like looked like like the world. Like I'm sorry, but like that time, the impression that I have is like the world is like one step to end.
Yeah.
We're in Big Bear. We got phone calls from all over. My wife was calling me like, "Oh, you see, like turn it off. Turn it on the TV. The end is the end of the world. Like." And then the rumors of the Vegas was going to be the next target.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of like a little bit. I again don't brand that because I didn't lose my fight because of that, but it was not that too much because of that. The whole of not sure if that fight was gonna happen or not.
For sure.
And then interesting, another one too. I stand up the whole fight with him. It's like if I could go back in days, like that was like a big mistake. Again, ego. Like that's the ego of jiu-jitsu guy. Learn stand up and try to prove that you can stand up.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I don't know if you remember, half of the crowd was booing because they give to him, and I think if they have give the decision to me, also the other half was gonna bullying about because
Yeah.
it was like I couldn't. I think if I have done what I know what to do the best, I could have done better against him. I was just trying to stand up and fight him in his own game, and that was my mistake. I paid for. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here with us. We learned a lot. This isn't just us going over our notes. You brought a lot of stuff to light that I'd never heard before, especially the Tito and Ken stuff. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
UFC 3.
Yes, UFC 3.
We got somebody to back up my opinion that Harold Howard won. Okay. Fastest finish in UFC history.
I like the message for everybody is like, don't actually believe what you see on TV. Yeah. Because sometimes I see some of my youngest fighters, like, and some young people that is I say younger lovers of the sport. I'm like, oh, you see, these guys really hate each other. I'm like, don't be so sure about that. The whole McGregor, the whole thing. I'm like, don't be so sure about it, Right. It's like I say, it's like they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. If they do hate each other, they're gonna see each other on the street and gonna fight. That's when you hate each other.
Right.
But if it's a showtime, it's a showtime. So I'm not saying that not everybody doing that. Like some people do maybe don't like each other for sure, but showtime.
Yeah.
Fabiano, absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been trying to piece this together for a minute. Man, fantastic. Great interview. Thank you, sir.
Anytime.
Joey Venti.
All right.
He came through with another one, buddy.
Another one. Cashing in favors all over town.
Okay, so here. We got to get back out to the East Coast in Canada. If you've heard this, you've already got Natal. I think we're going to have Natal back with Draculino going through his UFC career. Little side note, Fabiano Iha talked about like the mental issues that Belfort would go through. For both of his fights in England, they sent Draculino with them, like as like a mind mechanic. So it's interesting stuff, man. That's good. As UFC 3, we got a Brazilian on record saying Harold Howard deserved, he got the win.
That's right. We'll take it.
I've been fishing for that for a long time.
Okay, so Tito and Ken didn't really hate each other. And hang on, this is news. Vitor took steroids. I've never heard that before. But that's crazy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, subscribe. Joey, you're killing it, dude. Honestly, you're really helping out. Let's also big shout out Tyson Green, our resident welder. Bringing it home, man.
All right. See you next one.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.